What if I told you that, right now, there is a version of you already living the life you keep postponing? The only reason you cannot feel it is because distortion is stealing your signal. Every second you delay, the gap between who you are and who you could be grows heavier. This is not a gentle warning. It is a truth you can no longer ignore. You feel it when your intuition hesitates. You sense it when signs appear, but you second guess. That is the distortion. It is not because you are broken. It is because your nervous system is locked on the wrong frequency. And the cost of staying there is higher than you think. Your higher self is not a fantasy waiting for some perfect future. It already exists. Right here, right now, silent, invisible, but ready. The question is not whether it is real. The question is whether you will match it before this moment slips away. Quantum science already confirms it. All possibilities overlap in the field. They wait for your observation to collapse into reality. What you observe depends on your frequency. If you keep transmitting fear and doubt, you reinforce the cage you are already in. But when you align with trust, neutrality, and clarity, reality bends to match you. Think of it like a radio. The station is already broadcasting. But if you never turn the dial, you will never hear the song. How many more days will you waste tuned to static? So breathe right now. Ask yourself, what would it feel like if I matched my higher self in this very breath? What thought would I release? What tension would I allow to dissolve? Each time you choose resonance over noise, the field responds. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, the invitation is in front of you. Will you tune in, or will you stay trapped in the distortion? Do you hear that low hum under everything? That persistent doubt that nudges you toward delay? It occupies the small spaces where action should live. It keeps you small. It keeps you safe. It keeps you invisible. How long will you allow that hum to decide your fate? Picture an inner dial. It moves with your breath. It moves with your posture. It moves with the stories you tell yourself. Turn left and you remain confined by habit. Turn right and you open to a signal you have only half remembered. Which direction are you choosing this moment? This is not about fixing what is broken. It is about clearing interference. It is about learning to listen. The method is simple. The practice is relentless. Do you want movement, or do you want an explanation for inaction? Do you want alignment, or do you want to keep convincing yourself that tomorrow will change everything? You stand at a threshold. One side hums with familiar noise. The other side holds a signal that vibrates with possibility. The fork is quiet. It asks for small choices, made again and again. You will not notice a miracle overnight. You will notice a repeated decision that becomes habit. That habit reshapes the field. Think of the entrepreneur in California who woke, sat still, and stopped scrolling. She listened to one breath and let a thought align with her chest. Within weeks, opportunities shifted. Partners showed up who matched the new frequency she held. This was not luck. It was patient tuning. It was refusal to remain on autopilot. Not how many invitations have slipped by because your system was set to fear. How many doors closed because your posture did not signal readiness. The field offers signals. You must be present to receive them. You need not perform elaborate rituals. You need to calibrate. Tiny adjustments matter. Breath, posture, a clear intention. These small acts yield large consequences. Science gives a map. Heart and brain converse. Coherent rhythms change perception. When the internal field stabilizes, intuition sharpens. When the nervous system relaxes, signal rises above static. These effects are measurable. They are repeatable. They require practice, not promise. Practice without honesty yields little. Ask yourself, What story keeps you tuned to less? Which belief would you release if you could see it as habit, not truth? Name it, speak it. Hold a counter frequency long enough for the old pattern to thin. This is not soft counsel. This is a protocol. Be brave in small increments. Show up repeatedly for the version of you that already knows. Choose resonance over reaction. Choose steadiness over drama. Now, make a quiet promise. Lower your shoulders. Soften your jaw. Take a full breath into the heart. Let that breath carry an intention. Clarity, trust, calm. Repeat this breath. Repeat until it becomes the default. Repeat until the field begins to answer back. When the field answers, you will notice a subtle rearrangement. An idea will land with uncanny timing. A person will enter your orbit who speaks your language. Circumstances will lean toward you. You will feel it in the sinew of your body, not only in your thoughts. This is not danger. It is an urgent invitation. Signals pass by like trains. You can board or remain on the platform, wondering why the journey never began. Which will you choose? If you are ready, say it now inside your mind. Say, I will match my higher frequency. Say, I will choose resonance over fear. Let that be your quiet command. Let that be the first of many small, ferocious acts that reshape your days. The moment for hesitation thins. The moment for steady, repeatable choices begins. Will you answer the signal? Or will you stay tuned to static? Each time you choose resonance, the field echoes. Each time you let go of a limiting thought, the pattern weakens. Small actions compound. Small choices accumulate. This is how destiny rewires itself, quietly, insistently, until you no longer ask for proof, but move because you recognize the signal. Now the higher self is not a dream. It is a living frequency vibrating inside you. Do you feel the pull of it now? Do you sense that something greater has always been waiting beneath the noise? This is not imagination. This is not distant mysticism. This is science meeting spirit. This is the hidden order behind reality itself. For years, you may have thought of the higher self as an ideal, a future version of you, a figure you would reach only after enough struggle. But what if that was the distortion? What if the truth is simpler, sharper, undeniable? It is not something you chase. It is something you tune into. Like a radio station already, broadcasting in the silence around you. Invisible, constant, waiting for you to turn the dial. Quantum physics has already shown the way. All possibilities exist in superposition, overlapping, vibrating, present in the field right now. What collapses those possibilities into your life is observation. And observation is not neutral. It bends toward the frequency you hold. So ask yourself, what frequency are you holding today? Doubt? Stress? Fear? If so, the field bends to that. But when you align with clarity, neutrality, trust, the field bends again. Reality reshapes. People move. Opportunities shift. Signals organize around you as if pulled by a magnet. David Bohm called it the implicate order, a hidden, folded reality beneath what you see. All outcomes already exist there, not separate from you. You are it. You are the pattern unfolding. You are the frequency that decides which version of life takes form. Mystics knew this long before physics gave it a name. They called it the Oversoul, the part of you untouched by time, untouched by trauma, untouched by ego. The witness, the blueprint behind the mask you wear. Do you understand the gravity of this? Your higher self is not a wish. It is the original frequency beneath interference, the signal before the noise, the song before the static. And when you drop into it, something remarkable happens. Intuition clears, choices stabilize. You stop asking for signs because you become the signal. Life begins to reorganize around you, not because of luck, but because you finally matched what was always present. Listen closely. This is not abstract. This is architecture. The architecture of energy. The mechanics of alignment. Think of the student in Texas. A young man carrying the weight of indecision, lost between expectations and desire. He turned to meditation, not as escape, but as experiment. He learned to enter alpha states, those relaxed yet alert brainwaves where intuition sharpens. And in that quiet, his path cleared. He no longer waited for direction. He felt it. He knew it. From hesitation to clarity, from confusion to purpose, because he tuned the dial within. This is the invitation now facing you. Not later, not someday. Now. So breathe into this moment. Feel the frequency under your skin. Ask yourself, what would change if I believed the signal was already here? What thought would I release? What sensation in my body would I allow? Every time you lean into that inquiry, you send a new signal into the field. The field is not passive. It is listening. It echoes what you broadcast. The question is sharp. The question is urgent. Will you continue reinforcing the frequency of your limitations, or will you finally match the frequency of your higher self? Do not let this moment dissolve. Do not let the static decide your path. If you have ever felt your intuition clouded, if you have ever begged for clarity only to second guess when it arrived, this is your proof. You are not broken. You are simply out of tune. And if you feel the resonance right now, if you feel the possibility stirring in your chest, anchor it. Press like. Declare it in the comments. Write, I am tuning in. Let the act itself become the ritual. Let it collapse this insight into reality, because each declaration is not just engagement. It is calibration. It is you turning the dial. It is you choosing to step into alignment, not tomorrow, not later, but in this very breath. The higher self is not elsewhere. It is here, not later, now, not an illusion, a frequency, a living signal vibrating beneath your skin. So I ask you, if everything is frequency, what has distorted yours? What force has kept you disconnected from the signal that has always been yours to claim? You are not weak. You are simply covered by the noise of conditioning. Can you feel it? That constant buzz in your mind that tells you to hesitate, to doubt, to wait just a little longer. That buzz is not truth. It is distortion. How many times have you wanted clarity only to find yourself second-guessing? How many times have you felt a spark of inspiration only to watch it drown beneath fear? That is the noise. That is the static. And it convinces you that you are not enough. But listen carefully. This is not because something is broken in you. It is because old patterns are running the show. Scripts written years ago. Beliefs you inherited without question. Stories planted in your nervous system, repeating themselves until you mistake them for identity. Neuroscience confirms it. When your brain is locked in high beta, the stress waves dominate. Your mind races. Your body tenses. Focus shatters. You are not making choices from clarity. You are reacting from distortion. You are tuned to the wrong frequency. And that frequency has a cost. The cost is your time. The cost is your confidence. The cost is your future. How long will you pay it? This is the trap of distortion. It whispers that action is dangerous. It tells you to wait until you feel ready. It keeps you circling the same doubts while life passes by. But let me tell you a story. In New York, a single mother faced this same trap. Every day she questioned herself. Every opportunity felt too big, too risky. The noise told her she was not capable. But one day she began a practice. She called it frequency hygiene. She noticed when the distortion arrived. She paused. She breathed. She chose a different signal, Again and again. It did not happen overnight, but slowly the static weakened. Decisions became lighter. Fear lost its grip. Within months, she launched a business she had postponed for years. Clients arrived. Opportunities aligned. Not because the world suddenly changed, but because she stopped obeying the noise. Her story is not rare. It is proof. Proof that distortion is not a life sentence. It is a signal you can shift. So ask yourself, where is distortion holding you right now? In your career? In your relationships? In the silence before sleep? Identify it. Feel it. See it for what it is. Because once you see it, you can challenge it. You can choose resonance instead of static. You can practice your own frequency hygiene. Take a deep breath right now. Notice the tension in your body. Notice the thought that says you cannot. That is the distortion. Release it with your exhale. Replace it with a new signal. I am clear. I am capable. I am aligned. Each repetition is a recalibration. Each breath is a reset. And if you have felt yourself drowning in fear, if you have ever recognized the noise controlling your choices, let this be your moment of defiance. Tap the heart. Write in the comments, I am clearing the noise. Let the act itself become your declaration, because the distortion thrives in silence. It thrives when you do nothing. But the moment you declare, the moment you shift, the static loses its power. So here is the truth. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not doomed to repeat the same hesitation forever. You are simply covered by noise. And noise can be cleared. The field is waiting. Your higher self is waiting. The signal is already here. The only question that remains is this. If distortion is not your fault, then how will you choose to retune? How will you recalibrate the signal that has always been yours? Your brain does not create consciousness. It is only the radio receiving the signals of the universe. Have you ever wondered why, no matter how hard you try to think positive, exhaustion still creeps in? Why the affirmations you repeat feel hollow? Why clarity slips away even when you chase it with discipline? It is because the brain is not the generator. It is the receiver. And every receiver needs an amplifier. That amplifier is your heart. Alone, the brain is a tuner. It picks up signals. But without the resonance of the heart, the signal is faint, unstable, easily lost in static. Together, when heart and brain align, something extraordinary happens. A higher state emerges. A state of deep clarity, calm focus, intuitive flow. This is not poetic imagery. This is measurable science. The Heart Math Institute has shown that when heart rhythms synchronize with brain waves, coherence appears. Stress drops. Intuition sharpens. Perception expands. Decisions come faster, cleaner, more aligned. But here is the pressing truth. Most people live in disconnection. Their brain is racing in beta, flooded with stress. Their heart is out of rhythm, locked in fear or frustration. The receiver picks up noise. The amplifier spreads distortion. No wonder exhaustion dominates. How much longer will you run in circles, mistaking noise for clarity? How many more days will you waste telling yourself to think positive while your system is out of tune? Think of the veteran in Colorado. Years of trauma had locked his brain in survival mode. Anxiety owned his nights. Memories hijacked his days. But through heart-brain coherence training, everything shifted. By practicing breath that linked heart rhythm with brain waves, his system began to reset. Anxiety dropped by 70%. Sleep returned. Balance re-entered his life. He was not escaping his past. He was tuning his present. This is the invitation for you. To stop fighting noise with more noise. To stop pushing your brain harder, demanding clarity through force. Instead, place your hand on your chest. Feel the rhythm there. Breathe into it. Let the heart amplify the signal. Because when brain and heart sync, the static dissolves. Your nervous system softens. Your intuition speaks louder. You stop searching for signs outside because your body becomes the sign. This is not reserved for monks or mystics. It is available to you now. Right now, in this very breath. So ask yourself, what would change if your heart and brain pulsed in harmony? What choices would feel lighter? What path would reveal itself without the weight of overthinking? The science is undeniable. The experience is unforgettable. And the cost of ignoring it is high. Stress compounds. Fatigue deepens. Opportunities slip by while you are lost in static. But in this moment, you can choose differently. You can interrupt the old pattern. You can shift from separation to coherence. Try it now. Place your hand over your heart. Inhale slowly, as if drawing air into your chest. Exhale gently, as if sending that signal through your body. Do it once more. Notice the shift. Subtle, but real. This is alignment beginning. If you feel it, claim it. Comment, I am syncing heart and brain. Let that be your declaration. Let it be your ritual. Let it collapse this insight into reality. Because once you declare, once you practice, once you sync, the field responds. Life reorganizes. Clarity emerges. You stop chasing. You start receiving. You do not have to earn this state. You only have to tune into it. The receiver is already built. The amplifier is already beating. The signal is already here. So I ask you now, if your brain and heart together can unlock coherence, how will you reprogram the old operating system that kept them divided? Every repeated thought is a line of code rewriting your destiny. Do you realize how much power lives in that single truth? How many times have you whispered to yourself, I am not ready, only to watch another chance slip away? How many times have you let the same thought replay until it became a wall between you and the life you crave? This is not weakness. This is programming. Your brain is a living computer, and every thought is a command. Neuroscience has a name for it. Neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to rewire itself. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you repeat a belief, it strengthens. Every time you revisit a fear, it deepens. And every time you choose a new thought, no matter how fragile, you are carving a new path. So ask yourself now, what code are you running? Is it the old script of hesitation? Or is it a new command that points you forward? The truth is simple. The brain does not care whether the thought is empowering or limiting. It will wire it anyway. That means every belief is a choice. Every loop is a decision. Every line of code is shaping the architecture of your future. Think of the engineer in Silicon Valley, once lost in depression. His mind played the same loop daily. You are not enough. You will never rise. That script became his prison. But then he discovered neuroplasticity. He began writing new code, small at first. I am capable. I am learning. I am growing. He repeated it until the neurons linked. He reinforced it until the old wiring weakened. Within a year, he was no longer the silent engineer. He became a speaker, sharing his story, inspiring thousands. His depression gave way to direction because he rewrote the code. What about you? How many years will you wait before changing the program? How long will you keep running the script of doubt? This is not abstract. This is biology. Hebbian learning is proven. Neurons adapt. Connections strengthen. The map of your mind changes. You are not fixed. You are programmable. But here is the urgency. If you do not choose the program, the old code runs by default. Conditioning, trauma, inherited beliefs. All of it continues writing in the background. Each day you delay is another day. The old software dominates Dot, so the question becomes fierce. Will you let outdated code define you, or will you write a new program starting now? Close your eyes. Imagine a thought you repeat often. Maybe it is, I cannot. Maybe it is, I am not ready. See it as a line of code. Now imagine pressing delete. Imagine typing a new command. I am ready. I am aligned. I am moving forward. Repeat it until you feel the neurons firing. That is how rewiring begins. Do not underestimate the power of small repetitions. They are not weak. They are atomic. Each repetition is a vote. Each vote strengthens a circuit. Each circuit reshapes the brain. This is your chance to prove it to yourself. Right now, if you are ready to erase the old code, declare it. Type in the comments, I am reprogramming. Let the act itself be the first keystroke of your new script, because declaration matters. It is not just words. It is energy. It is intention collapsing into the field. It is your nervous system receiving a new signal, and the field will respond, just as it did for the engineer, just as it does for anyone who chooses resonance over repetition. Do not wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow is another loop of the old code. The change begins in this breath, in this moment, in this choice. Every repeated thought is a line of code rewriting your destiny. You cannot stop coding. The only question is, are you writing freedom, or are you writing chains? So tell me, if programming is inevitable, why would you choose to keep running the script of limitation? And more importantly, when will you finally decide to install the program of your higher self? Every breath you take can be a code unlocking a new reality. Have you ever wondered why your affirmations feel empty? Why repeating positive words does not seem to change anything? You speak them, you hope, you wait, but your life looks the same. Why? Because words alone are not enough. You need the Trinity: breath, emotion, intention. Breath is the interface. Emotion is the amplifier. Intention is the direction. When all three align, the code enters. When even one is missing, the signal is weak. So ask yourself, how are you breathing right now? Shallow, distracted, mechanical, or deep, deliberate, alive? Because breath is the gateway. Each inhale can carry a command. Each exhale can release interference. Without conscious breath, your system is locked in survival. With conscious breath, your system becomes a transmitter. Now, layer emotion onto that breath. Not fake emotion, not forced joy, real feeling, gratitude, calm, excitement. Emotion is the fuel that powers the code. Without emotion, intention is flat. With emotion, intention becomes magnetic. And then directed. Aim the energy with intention. Not a vague wish, a clear direction, a chosen signal. When breath, emotion, and intention fire together, the nervous system opens. The brain drops into alpha and theta, the states where plasticity blooms. In those states, new programs enter. Old codes dissolve. This is not mysticism. This is biology. Science has shown it. Alpha and theta rhythms increase receptivity. They allow the brain to absorb new associations, to build new connections. That means you are not stuck. You are programmable. Your body is listening. Your breath is the keyboard. Your emotion is the power supply. Your intention is the command. Think of the trainer in Florida. He repeated affirmations for years with no change. He forced positivity, but felt drained. Then he discovered the Trinity. Each morning he breathed deeply, dropped into coherence, added genuine gratitude, and directed intention toward his business. Within months, his energy shifted. Clients noticed. Sales doubled. Not because of marketing tricks, but because of resonance. His field changed, so his reality responded. And what about you? How many times have you repeated, "I'm successful," while your body felt stress? How many times have you said, "I am calm," while your breath was shallow? That mismatch is why nothing changes. The Trinity ends the mismatch. It unites thought, body, and field. Try it now. Inhale deeply through your nose. Hold gently. Exhale slowly through your mouth. Do it again. This time, while you inhale, feel gratitude rise in your chest. While you exhale, imagine releasing fear. Add one clear intention. Say to yourself, "I am aligned." That is the Trinity in action. Do you feel the difference? Subtle but undeniable. Your system shifts. The code enters. This is the practice. Simple, direct, powerful. If you felt it, declare it. Comment, "I am harmonizing." Let that declaration anchor the shift. Let it collapse the insight into reality, because repetition matters. This is not a one-time spark. It is a daily ignition. Each morning, each evening, allowing breath, emotion, and intention. Watch the signal grow stronger. Watch the static fade. Watch your reality bend. This is your reminder. You do not need to force change with endless words. You need to embody it with the Trinity. Breath opens the channel. Emotion fuels the message. Intention gives it direction. Together, they rewrite the field. So I ask you now, if one breath can be a code unlocking a new reality, what would your life look like if you practiced this Trinity every single day? A day can be reprogrammed in just the first 5 minutes. Have you ever stopped to realize how much power hides in those opening moments? Before the phone, before the rush, before the world intrudes, those first minutes are the code. They set the frequency. They decide if you live today by default or by design. How many mornings have you woken, reached for your phone, and let someone else's urgency become your own? How many days have already been stolen before you even stood up? That is the cost of forgetting the first 5 minutes. But here is the revelation. It only takes 5 minutes to reclaim your system. 5 minutes to reset the frequency. 5 minutes to tune your brain and heart into coherence before the noise arrives. This is not philosophy. This is physiology. Studies confirm it. A consistent morning practice stabilizes the nervous system. It reduces reactivity. It strengthens focus. It primes the brain for clarity and flow. So what is the practice? It is not complicated. It is not hours of discipline. It is the Trinity compressed into 5 minutes. Breath, emotion, intention. Breathe deeply. Feel the rhythm of your heart as you inhale and exhale. Let emotion rise with the breath. Gratitude, calm, a sense of readiness. Then direct it with intention. A clear signal of who you choose to be today. Not vague, not wishful. Specific. 5 minutes of this, and your system resets. The brain moves into alpha. The heart stabilizes. The nervous system softens. And you begin the day as the signal, not as the noise. Think of the young CEO in Seattle. Every morning used to start in chaos. Emails, deadlines, stress before breakfast. His body lived in survival. But he changed the code. He gave himself 5 minutes. Breath, emotion, intention, day after day. Within weeks, he felt calmer. Within months, his leadership transformed. His team noticed. His business grew. His life aligned. All from 5 minutes. And now, the question is yours. Will you give yourself those minutes? Or will you keep handing them to the noise? Take a breath right now. Imagine tomorrow morning. Instead of the phone, you place your hand on your chest. You breathe deeply. You choose gratitude. You declare your intention. You begin not with chaos, but with coherence. Can you feel how different that day would unfold? This is not too small to matter. This is the foundation. Every structure depends on the first stone. Every day depends on the first 5 minutes dot, so try it tomorrow. 5 minutes. Nothing more. Nothing less. Then return here and declare it. Write, I am rebooting. Let your comment be the anchor. Let it be the moment your system begins to shift. Because the truth is undeniable. You cannot control every hour. You cannot control every event. But you can control the opening code. And the opening code writes the pattern of the day dot. So I ask you now, if an entire day can be reprogrammed in just 5 minutes, why would you ever surrender those minutes again? People do not remember the data you give. They remember the story you make them feel. Why is that? Why can you sit through endless lectures, hear thousands of facts, and forget them all, but one single story can ignite a fire inside you? Because data speaks to the mind. Story speaks to the soul dot. This is not an opinion. This is proven. Research at Stanford shows stories are remembered 22 times more than data. 22 times. Which means if you want to move someone, if you want to inspire them, if you want to plant a seed that grows long after your voice is gone, you do it through story dot. And story is not random. Story is not luck. Story has structure. The structure is sparkline. It is the art of tension and release. Problem, conflict, solution, climax, resolution. This pattern mirrors the pulse of life itself. It hooks attention, holds emotion, and delivers transformation. Think about it. The problem creates curiosity. The conflict builds pressure. The solution releases hope. The climax explodes into emotion. And the resolution gives relief, clarity, and meaning. Without this arc, the message is flat. With it, the message becomes unforgettable. A professor in Chicago proved this. He replaced his bullet points with stories. Real people, real struggle, real triumph. His students did not just listen, they felt. Tests showed their memory retention soared by 70%. Not because the data was easier, but because the story carried it into their nervous system. And what about you? How many times have you heard someone speak and felt nothing? How many times have you heard a story and carried it for years? That is the difference. That is the power dot story bypasses resistance. It goes where raw information cannot. It drops directly into the heart. And when the heart feels, the brain remembers dot. So why are you still trying to convince people with logic alone? Why are you still stacking facts and hoping they care? They will not care until they feel. They will not feel until you tell a story. Imagine telling your own journey in Sparkline. Begin with the problem. Show the struggle. Let the conflict breathe. Then reveal the breakthrough. Build the climax. Deliver the resolution. Can you feel how magnetic that would be? Your life is already a story. Every failure, every rise, every scar, every joy. The only question is, will you shape it? Or will you let it remain scattered fragments that never connect? The world is waiting for stories that heal, stories that awaken, stories that remind us we are not alone. And your story may be the one that someone else desperately needs. If you believe story can heal, declare it now. Comment, I am a living story. Let that be your claim. Let that be your first step into Sparkline. Because once you begin to see your life as Sparkline, everything changes. You stop seeing problems as punishment. You see them as the first act. You stop fearing conflict. You understand it builds the climax. You stop hiding your scars. You recognize they are the resolution that makes your story whole. This is why humans are wired for narrative. Story is not entertainment. Story is survival. Story is transmission. Story is the oldest technology we have, and it is still the most powerful dot. So here's the question that remains. If data fades and story lasts, how will you use your story not just to connect, but to transform strangers into a community vibrating on the same frequency? We do not change alone, we change together. Have you felt it? That loneliness on your spiritual path, wondering if anyone else understands the weight you carry. That silence after the meditation ends, when you wish someone was there to share the shift with you. That ache is proof of a deeper truth. Transformation is not meant to be solitary. It is meant to be shared. When energy aligns, it amplifies. Waves in resonance grow stronger. 2 voices create harmony. 1,000 voices create a force that can move reality itself. This is physics. This is resonance. This is why community is not optional. It is essential. So ask yourself, what would change if you are not just a viewer, but part of a tribe? What would it feel like to know that every breath you take, every intention you set, is multiplied by others doing the same? In Los Angeles, a small Facebook group began a simple ritual. Just 5 minutes each morning, breath, emotion, intention, shared across a screen. No one expected much, but something astonishing happened. Members who had battled depression for years began to feel lighter, not because their struggles vanished, but because they were no longer alone. The ritual became a bond. The bond became coherence, and coherence became healing. This is the power of turning comments into ritual. A simple phrase, typed with intention, becomes an act of co-creation. When you write, "I am reprogramming," it is not just text. It is energy anchored into the field. It is you declaring your alignment, while others echo the same declaration. Together, the signal grows. Together, the field bends. Do not underestimate this. One voice is fragile. Many voices are unstoppable. So here is your invitation. Do not just watch. Participate. Comment. Let your words become frequency. Let your act become ritual. Not only for you, but for everyone here. Because when one person declares, the whole tribe strengthens. Feel the urgency. The world is noisy, disconnected, fragmented. But in this moment, a chance opens. A chance to create resonance. A chance to turn strangers into allies. A chance to shift from isolation into belonging. And if you are wondering whether this matters, ask yourself this. How many times have you felt change start in you, only to fade because no one held you accountable? How many times have you promised yourself you would act, but fell back into old patterns because you were walking alone? This is why the tribe matters. It holds you. It reflects you. It amplifies you. So breathe with me. Imagine hundreds, thousands, all inhaling at once. Imagine their hearts sinking. Imagine their intentions converging. Do you feel the pull of that? That is the field forming. That is the tribe awakening. If you want to join it, declare it now. Comment, "I am reprogramming." Let it be your initiation. Let it be your signal to the group, to the field, to yourself. Because this is not about consuming content. This is about co-creating reality. And your action is the missing piece. Remember this truth. We do not change alone. We change together. So I ask you, if the strength of the tribe multiplies your own, what would stop you from stepping out of silence and adding your voice to the resonance right now? Your power does not come from being like anyone else. It comes from an authenticity that cannot be copied. Have you felt the emptiness of imitation? That hollow silence after trying to mirror someone else's style, someone else's success, someone else's voice? You chase their shadow and lose your own light. And the more you try, the more invisible you become. Why? Because the world does not respond to replicas. It responds to resonance. And resonance only comes when you are aligned with yourself. This is not just philosophy. Research from Harvard Business Review proves it. Authentic leaders create 3 times more trust and engagement in their teams. Why? Because people sense truth. They feel when someone is real. They feel when someone is wearing a mask. And they cannot connect with the mask. So let me ask you, how much longer will you wear a mask that suffocates your voice? How much longer will you postpone your originality for the safety of imitation? Think of the YouTuber in California. For years he chased trends. He copied what was popular. He mimicked what others did. And his numbers stayed flat. His energy drained. His voice was silent. Until one day he stopped. He began sharing his truth. His culture, his fears, his hopes, raw, unpolished, real, and the audience exploded. 1 million subscribers. Not because he became trendy, but because he became authentic. That is the paradox. When you try to be like everyone, you vanish. When you dare to be yourself, you stand out. So breathe into this question. What part of you have you been hiding? What voice have you silenced in order to fit? What truth have you buried under imitation? Because here is the urgency. The world does not need another copy. The world needs your signal. And your signal is only strong when it is authentic. Do not confuse authenticity with perfection. Authenticity is not flawless. Authenticity is raw. It is vulnerable. It admits fear. It admits desire, and that is why it resonates. Because people do not trust perfection. They trust honesty. So if you are searching for your unique voice, stop looking outward. Stop measuring yourself against others. Start listening inward. Start asking, what do I value? What moves me? What truth would I speak if I was not afraid of being different? Your story, your scars, your perspective. That is your currency. That is your magnet. That is what makes you unforgettable. And if you feel the pull right now, claim it. Type into the comments, I choose authenticity. Let that be your initiation. Let that be your declaration to yourself and to the tribe that you will no longer hide. Because every time you choose authenticity, you strengthen your signal. Every time you choose imitation, you weaken it. And the choice is constant. Every post, every decision, every day. So ask yourself this. Which future do you want? The one where you spend years mimicking others, or the one where you build a life that is unmistakably yours? Remember, your power does not come from being like anyone else. It comes from an authenticity that cannot be copied. And now the bigger mystery opens. If authenticity is the path, then where does it lead? What is the final destination of living in alignment with your true voice? When you shift the observer, everything you observe changes. Do you feel the weight of that? The realization that you are not trapped by what you see. You are shaping it. Every breath, every choice, every signal you broadcast, you have walked this path. 90 minutes of discovery. 90 minutes of peeling back distortion. 90 minutes of learning that your higher self is not far away, not imaginary, but alive inside you right now. And now you stand at a threshold, a door that only you can open. What have you learned? That the higher self is not perfection. It is not flawless. It is the living vibration beneath the noise. To master it is not to never fall. To master it is to return. Again and again, breath by breath, moment by moment. Science confirms it. Heart math has shown that daily coherence rewires your nervous system. Neuroplasticity proves that small, consistent practice changes the brain itself. Not in theory, in reality. Every repetition lays a new foundation. Every choice strengthens a new pattern. This is not wishful thinking. This is biology. Look to San Francisco. A group of friends committed to 5 minutes each morning. Breath, emotion, intention, nothing elaborate, just consistency. 6 months later, many of them were living what they once called impossible. Careers shifted, relationships healed, energy returned, not because of luck, but because of calibration. They became the signal, and now it is your turn, your moment, your choice. Will you continue carrying the old code, or will you collapse this moment into a new reality? Close your eyes. Feel the signal inside you. Imagine the version of you already living in alignment. Can you sense how close it is? Can you feel the invitation? It has always been here, waiting for you to tune in. This is the time. Do not let it slip. If you are ready to live the frequency of your higher self, declare it now. Comment, "I am reprogramming." Let it be your marker. Let that be the signal you send to the field. And if this journey has moved you, share it. Not just for you, but for the tribe. Because when you share, you amplify. When you like, you strengthen. When you subscribe, you anchor this resonance in your daily life. Each act is not just interaction. It is ritual. It is calibration that the world is full of noise. But together, we can create coherence. Together, we can amplify a signal that cuts through distortion. Together, we can live as proof that the higher self is not theory, but embodiment. So take this step now. Breathe deeply. Anchor the lesson. Declare your alignment. Interact not as a spectator, but as a co-creator, because this is not the end. This is the beginning. The journey continues every time you choose resonance. Every time you choose authenticity. Every time you return to the signal. Remember this truth. When you shift the observer, everything you observe changes. And now the question opens wide. When you have become the signal, how will you amplify it for the world?